the surreal ride on the Opicina tram. The adventure at the Osmisa in Sconico had left Amy and Julian exhausted but curious. They reached the village of Opicina just as the evening sky turned a deep violet. "The tram is the fastest way down to the city center," Julian said, checking the schedule. They stood at the historic station, the iron key from Branco heavy in Julian's pocket and the red gem still warm in Amy's hand. With a rhythmic clanging of bells, the famous blue tram arrived. It looked like a relic from a different century, with its polished wooden benches and vintage brass details. Amy and Julian stepped inside, finding the car surprisingly empty. As they sat down, the tram began its steep journey down the hill toward the Gulf of Trieste. As the tram reached the steepest part of the track, where it connects to the cable system, the air grew heavy. A strange, high-pitched metallic screeching filled the cabin, much louder than the usual sound of wheels on tracks. "Do you hear that?" Amy whispered, her eyes wide. It didn't sound like machinery. It sounded like a choir of voices. Suddenly, the red gem in Amy's hand began to pulse with a blinding intensity. The light wasn't just red anymore. It was swirling with gold and white sparks. The vibration became so strong that the entire tram car started to shake. Julian tried to reach for Amy's hand, but the light was becoming a wall between them. There was a sudden, silent explosion of brilliance. For a second, the world disappeared into a white void. When the light faded, Amy and Julian were still in the tram, but the world outside the windows had changed completely. They were no longer on the hillside. The tram was floating through a sea of soft, iridescent clouds. "Look at the city!" Amy gasped. Below them, a surreal version of Trieste was suspended among the clouds. The buildings were not made of stone or brick, but of shimmering, transparent crystal. The sun reflected through the structures, creating thousands of rainbows that danced across the sky. It was a city of glass and light. Julian stepped toward the open platform of the tram. The air smelled like salt and old paper. As he listened, he realized the strange noise from before had transformed. The entire sky was filled with the delicate, tinkling music of 1,000 carillons. Every movement of the wind seemed to play a new, sweet melody. Suddenly, a tall, elongated shadow detached itself from the crystalline reflections. It had no face, only a shape that looked like a person made of smoke. It glided across the floating tracks toward Amy. "Do not be afraid," a voice whispered, sounding like the rustle of dry leaves. The shadow stopped just inches away from her. The shadow turned its head toward Julian and spoke again, its voice echoing in their minds. "The key you hold is a fragment of the past, but the gem is the heart of the future. Beware the one who walks without a reflection. The door is opening, and time is no longer a straight line." With a violent jolt, the music stopped and the light vanished. Amy and Julian blinked, finding themselves back on the wooden benches. The tram was just pulling into the Piazza Oberdan station in the heart of Trieste. Julian checked his phone. Only 30 seconds had passed since the noises began, though it felt like hours. "We weren't dreaming," Amy whispered, seeing the gem finally go dark.